It's game of the week time. Liverpool versus Arsenal. Both teams are unbeaten so far. Arteta has the best of Klopp recently, but Klopp is going for that double. We bring the stats, predicted lineups, score predictions, and how they win, and much more coming up now. It's game of the week time. It's Liverpool versus Arsenal Monday at 8 p.m. now, so you won't get kicked out of the pub due to the new restrictions.
Do you know what I almost did there? I was so looking forward to that. You remember the Michael Owen celebration?
Yeah. Liverpool, how did they perform last week?
Well, they're currently fourth in the Premier League, just about tucked in those Champions League spots, which I'm sure they'll be ecstatic with. Liverpool, so they had a very good start to the season against Leeds. I know they conceded 3, but as we touched on last week, I think they were quite unlucky to concede 3 in the end. I still think it was a very good performance by them. Against Chelsea actually set up quite well to play against them. And until the sending off, I think Chelsea matched them, which Klopp wouldn't have been happy with. But as soon as Christensen did decide to rugby tackle Mane to the floor, Liverpool really took over. And they went through the gears and they absolutely smashed them. What also should strike fear into any fan of any other team in the Premier League was how impressive that very small debut by Thiago was. I don't think he put a foot wrong.
Yeah, it's quite scary how you add a Thiago to a very dangerous Liverpool side already. Arsenal, on the other hand, didn't break a sweat in the very first game against Fulham. But against West Ham, they did swear it out quite a bit, and they were lucky to come away with the victory in the end, because they tried to probe West Ham. West Ham went to a back 5, really shut Arsenal down, but Arsenal thankfully overloaded that left-hand side and managed to get some joy out of it and snuck the win at home. This is their first true test against a Liverpool side. They played them in the Community Shield and got the better of Liverpool on penalties, but this is Premier League. This is the gold standard right here. Now, stats time. We like to get into the stats over here at Fickle Sports. Between Liverpool and Arsenal, these are the stats on screen for the previous 2 game weeks. What jumps off the screen?
Firstly, is that XG per game and their actual goals scored per game. They're currently scoring 3 goals a game, and they're expecting to score 3 goals a game as well at 2.93. That's quite ridiculous, I must say. I think as well, I know it's quite early in the season, but I think comparing Liverpool's stats to Arsenal's, certainly the expected goals and expected goals conceded, I find what's really interesting is you could probably see from that the difference between Arsenal and Liverpool and where Arsenal needs to improve to get close to being to Liverpool and challenging for the title. Liverpool's XG, their total XG, they currently have the highest in the Premier League. So certainly hasn't been a slow start by the reigning champions.
No, yeah, it's very scary to see the XG for Liverpool almost double Arsenal's.
The thing is, Arsenal's is impressive, right? 1.7 goals
that's good.
A game. And obviously they've got Aubameyang, who's such an incredible finisher. He's probably the main reason why your goals per game exceeds your expected goals per game. So it's not as if Arsenal are slouching, but compared to Liverpool, they make everyone look bad.
Yeah, and well, that expected goals conceded as well. It's not great, but last season Arsenal was so bad. The expected goals conceded were basically the same as their expected goals to score. So there is improvement on that side, and 2 wins resulting from that, can't complain. And passing accuracy 88%, that's the second highest in the Premier League. So all of that combined, it's going the right way for Mikel Arteta and this Arsenal team.
I feel like that's a stat Arteta will be really proud of.
Oh yeah, definitely,
especially when you consider what he's trying to build. It's worth, I think, giving a shout out to Leno as well, because if you look at your goals conceded versus expected goals conceded, you're currently at minus 0.6.
Which is good. Yeah, I mean,
you can essentially thank you, Leno.
Yeah, I do really appreciate Leno. I just have a soft spot for Emi Martinez, which it still hurts me.
At least he's getting first team football, which I think after his cameo last season, I think he very, very much deserved. I'm surprised. Genuinely, maybe Arsenal refused, but if I was Chelsea,
right, no, that would not be allowed. 100 million is the price tag for Chelsea, if that was the case.
Why? The amount of favours they've
No,
done
no,
you.
no, no.
Louise, have him. Willian, have him.
You're making us
everyone.
into a retirement home, yeah, basically.
So, injury news for Liverpool. Gomez has a knock and there's a 75% chance of him playing. Henderson also has a thigh injury. He should probably start, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Matip is definitely out. He's supposed to be out to the 17th of October. Shaqiri, I mean, he probably wouldn't start anyway, but he's in the same boat as Henderson and Gomez, where whether or not he's fit is touch and go. And lastly is Chamberlain out with his knee, but he doesn't have a return day as of yet. What's going on at Arsenal? You have a long list, right?
We have a long list. Usually I can remember it, but I actually have to read it off the screen because it's so long, and it kind of shows how ridiculously big our squad is.
This is what I have to deal with, guys. Look at this unprepared. It's unprofessional.
Eight centre backs. 7 of them probably out. Cedric Soares, he has a bit of a problem with his right calf, but he should be fine potentially for Liverpool. Kieran Tierney as well. He has a tight left groin, and that flared up just before the West Ham game. Callum Chambers, cruciate ligament injury. He's not back. He's aiming to be back in full training for October. Same thing with Gabriel Martinelli. Injured his knee a while ago. He's not back in full training just yet. Pablo Mari as well, left ankle. He's out and he won't be returning to training by the end of September. Shkodran Mustafi, right hamstring. I'm getting tired saying all these injuries. Sustained in the FA Cup semi-final, if you remember last season. Socrates, right calf, aiming to be back in full training this week. He might be fit for the Liverpool game, but I think he's quite low on the pecking order. And Emil Smith-Rowe, he has a right shoulder injury in training, but he aims to be in training in the next 7 to 10 days. So that's a feisty old injury list for Arsenal.
Yeah, sorry, I just worried myself up after that. That is a long list. Please. That is a long. That is a long list. So many centre backs as well. That's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, no, we've got a curse where we buy one and then they get injured straight away. So we'll buy another one.
Buy one, get one injured.
Now, predicted lineups for Liverpool. What's going on? What have you got your beady eyes on?
In goal is Alisson, the right back. You'll never guess who it is. Trent Alexander-Arnold, and his partner in crime on the left is Robertson, and the central defenders will be Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez. The reason why Fabinho wasn't included, even though he's super impressive against Chelsea, is because I think he's going to slot back in midfield next to Keita and Wijnaldum. And the front three, they basically picked themselves, probably the first three on the team sheet of Mane, Firmino and Salah. Gary, what's the predicted lineup for Arsenal?
Leno in goal. He's starting in goal. He was a bit shaky, but he still had some key saves. I'm going Hector Bellerin at right back. I'm going with a back 5 against Liverpool. We've done that against Liverpool and Man City. What ain't broke, don't fix, basically. And this is a curious one. The 3 central defenders, David Luiz likes to play in the middle of the 3, but Gabriel has been playing there recently. So I don't know. I think maybe he could put David Luiz on the right and Gabriel on the left, and have Kieran Tierney on the left-sided centre-back pairing, because in attack, Tierney basically goes on and bombs on as a left wing-back. And the actual left wing-back is going to be Ainsley Maitland-Niles, conservative. He's going to be there because he did a great job on Sadio Mane in the Community Shield. Central midfield pairing of Xhaka and Ceballos. I think that's our 2 best midfielders. It's not great, but we're going to have to do with it. And up front, Aubameyang on the left wing. First name on the sheet. You're going to have to bring Lacazette for this one. I have a sneaky suspicion that he might put in Nketiah, just because Nketiah runs so much, but I think he'll rely on...
He's got that pressing value, hasn't he? He's an absolute monster with pressing.
I think he'll go with Lacazette with the experience. And on the right, Willian, who replaces... He's really taken Pepe's spot this season.
So one of the first thing on Jurgen Klopp's mind is going to be how to get round that Arsenal press, as what you're going to see is both Willian and Aubameyang pressing the centre-backs and at the same time cutting off the avenue to the wing-backs. to try and pressure Liverpool into a mistake. I think to do that, what he's going to do is drop Fabinho into that centre-back position to make a back three, to give them that one extra man and to allow them to play the ball out of defence and into midfield. Now, to open up Arsenal, I actually think he's going to take a lesson from the Community Shield and try to open up that way. What he did in the Community Shield and what I think he's going to do in this game is Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to go into the right wing position, which he is more than capable of. Salah will then go central and become the main focal point of their attack. Firmino will drop deep and he will join both the double pivot in Wijnaldum and Keita in midfield and also give them a one-man advantage. Mane will keep his position on the left, but he will probably swap with Salah throughout the game. Defensively, to try and make up for Trent Alexander-Arnold bombing forward, I think you'll see Gomez go to the right-back position, but it'll be a lot more defensive than what Trent Alexander-Arnold would be, and Fabinho will move over, giving them a traditional back four. And I think with that formation, with that extra man in midfield, it will provide the cutting edge, and it will give them that little bit of an advantage in cutting Arsenal open.
For Arsenal, I do think it will be quite a bit of a problem because the last two games versus Liverpool have definitely had the lion's share of possession, and maybe it will be a case of having to drop Lacazette deep just to make sure the midfield doesn't get overrun. Wijnaldum, Keita and Fabinho are quite an athletic trio in midfield, and Ceballos and Xhaka are definitely the opposite of athletic. So I think that would be important in terms of stopping Liverpool breaking down through the middle of Arsenal's spine. Arsenal building up from the back. They start off with a back five, but they do turn into a back four in possession. So that's why Kieran Tierney is a key player for Arsenal left centre back, because building up from the back, Kieran Tierney turns into a left back, and we have Gabriel and Luiz, Bellerin, and have these triangles between the goalkeeper and the midfield. That would be very important in terms of breaking and bypassing Liverpool's press. And if they do that, I think Willian, Lacazette and Aubameyang, they do have the pace to isolate Van Dijk and Gomez and even Fabinho. And Maitland-Niles will be a very important person to overload. Arsenal like to overload on the left, so Aubameyang will come out here. Gomez will absolutely have to keep track of Aubameyang. And Maitland-Niles, this is where he caused so much damage to Man City and Chelsea in the FA Cup run last year, and even against Liverpool in the appearance last season. So that's where I think Arsenal have the advantage. Can Liverpool come up with a new tactic? We'll see.
So that was our tactical pad. That is how we went through. We think each team is going to win. Now, it's that moment. It's the bit we didn't do in our sneaky score predictions video. So if you're here, you've been waiting for this, or you've just zoomed all the way to this bit, I'm not sure. It's the score predictions. I'm going first, and I'm going for Liverpool 4, Arsenal 2.
You scumbag. You disrespectful man. Why are you doing
Remember, you haven't given your score prediction yet, so I'll wait for you to tell me that yours is pretty similar. Go ahead.
On the Arteta, we haven't. I'm going to jinx it now. We haven't conceded that many goals in a big game for a long while, except for Man City on that where David Luiz went full David Luiz. My prediction is Liverpool 2-1.
Yeah, see, look, it's basically the same scoreline.
Yeah, we're not going to concede 4. Well, I mean, I don't want to jinx us in that case. But I just think Arsenal they'll take a lot of encouragement from beating, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, like in the last couple of weeks. And it'll be a close game. But I think if you add Thiago into that mix, I actually have a sneaky suspicion that he might start and he might control the game and give an amazing 10 out of 10 performance.
But there you have it. That is Gary's score prediction, as wrong as it may be, as well as mine. Let us know what you think in the comments and what you think the score is going to be, and do like and subscribe.
See you later.